Greetings, friends. Welcome back to Middle Earth. If you're new to the channel, this is the perfect place to jump into my Lord of the Rings online adventure. I've been playing completely blind, experiencing Middle Earth for the first time, and I thought it would be fun to look back for everything that happened so far. From my first steps in Archet all the way to arriving in Bree. So, grab a drink, sit back, and let's relive the adventure. Like every great adventure, mine started in a small village called Archet. I knew almost nothing about Lord of the Rings Online before creating my character. Everything was new. The controls, the quests, the combat, and even how the world worked. Very quickly, I realized that it wasn't just another MMO rushing me towards the endgame. Instead, it encouraged me to slow down, read the quests, and pay attention to the people living in the world. Then, disaster struck. Archet came under attack, and suddenly I found myself defending the village against the brigands and trying to help everyone to survive. It was surprisingly exciting introduction and immediately made me feel like I was part of the story instead of just another player. To leave in Archet, the real adventure began. Every quest taught me something new. I was learning how combat worked, figuring out my skills, upgrading equipment, and slowly becoming more comfortable with the game. Of course, there was a few mistakes along the way, wrong turns, questionable decisions, and moments where I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. But honestly, that's the part what makes a blind playthrough so much fun. Everything you see is genuine first reaction. One of the biggest surprises has been how beautiful Lord of the Rings Online is. Even though the game has been around for years, the atmosphere is incredible. Walking through forests, listening to music, discovering hidden paths, and simply taking in the scenery, often because just as enjoyable as completing quests. Instead of rushing from objective to objective, I found myself stopping to admire the world. That's something I didn't expect from the MMO. You can really tell the developers cared about creating Tolkien's Middle Earth. Eventually, it was time to move on. Leaving the familiar roads behind felt like a real milestone. The world suddenly became much larger, and I started realizing just how enormous Lord of the Rings actually is. There were more travelers, more enemies, more quests, and countless places waiting to be explored. For the first time, it really felt like an adventure instead of a tutorial, you know? And then I finally arrived in Bree. As someone who watched the movies and know the story, walking through Bree for the first time was a special moment. Seeing the busy streets, the guards, the marketplace, and of course the prancing pony made Middle Earth feel real in a way I was not expecting. It wasn't just another city in the MMO. It felt alive. There is one of those places you've heard about for years, and finally getting to explore it yourself is something every Tolkien fan should experience. Looking back at these first episodes, I've learned a few things. Lord of the Rings Online rewards exploration. Reading quests, dialogues, makes the story much more enjoyable. The community have been incredibly welcoming and helpful. Perhaps most importantly, if you don't rush, some of the best moments happen when you simply slow down and enjoy the journey. So, this is where adventure stands today. From defending Archet to making through the gates of Bree, it's already been an amazing experience. And I know I'm only scratching the surface of what Middle Earth has to offer. There are countless regions still waiting to be explored, new characters to meet, dangerous enemies ahead, and plenty of stories to unfold. If you've been following this series from the beginning, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And if it's your first video, welcome. Now is the perfect time to subscribe and come along for an adventure. I also stream Lord of the Rings Online live on Twitch, so if you'd like to experience the journey as it happens, come hang out with me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next chapter of Middle Earth, of this beautiful Middle Earth adventure.